Hello, dear beloved tribe. Well, I'm not in my office today. I'm sitting out in my living room because my office has been turned into third level welcome pack HQ, which is very exciting. Kim's down there right now putting them all together, so there's no space in there for me right now. So here I am, I'm sitting in my living room, and I just wanted to jump in and have a conversation about something that I think is really, really important. And I feel like it's part of my responsibility as a spiritual leader and as a mentor and someone who has been on my path of spiritual seeking really as an adult since I was, 16. I did my first Reiki training when I was 16. But, the journey of my life as a spiritual person has really been since my birth, because my first spiritual teacher, my mother, Angelique, has been on her path that entire time. But really my path is now, do the maths. It's over 20 years that I've been actively on this path of spiritual seeking. And I've learned a thing or two, thankfully, because if I hadn't, then I was probably doing something wrong. And one of the things that I would like to share, or the thing I would like to share with you today, is the difference between the trinkets and superstitions of the New Age and devotion. And I saw something recently that really kind of jarred me and made me feel really concerned that perhaps there was some confusion between the idea of trinkets and superstitions, which I talk about a lot, the idea of the New Age ghetto producing this kind of spiritual retail therapy, which means that we have all the nice stuff and we go, buy our malas, which, I love and I never take off, and we have our crystals and we go do our modalities and we keep divesting ourselves of our own personal power. We put our power outside of ourselves. We put our power in the trinkets and superstitions. So unless the moon is in a particular phase, or my star sign's doing something or other, or if Mercury's retrograde, or if I haven't had my latest crystal bed therapy, or whatever it is, that I somehow can't be a fully functioning, fully contributing spiritual being in the world. And that is a trinket. That's a superstition. These ideas that are human-made, not divine and holy, somehow we give our power to, or we look to as the reason that our spiritual awakening occurs. And of course, our spiritual awakening doesn't occur because we bought a crystal, or because we, bathed under the full moon, or any of those things. And there's a very powerful reason why. And this is the point of difference to devotion. All my kittens are arguing, having a little fight over there, so if you can hear moaning, that's what it is. It's so important that we understand the difference between the tools that give us power and the tools, or the trinkets and superstitions, which take our power. I want to add here that I am not saying that we should never pursue the things like having specialist treatments or sessions with spiritual practitioners. I think there is a time and place for that. And in fact, I train women to serve in that way, because I believe that there are times where we do need scaffolding. But to believe that those interventions are the thing that cause our spiritual awakening is where our thinking falls down, and where I really want to make a point of difference here, because that is not devotion. Devotion is something entirely different. And as a spiritual seeker, you cannot build a life without devotional practices, not ever. If you are on this path of spiritual awakening, which we all are in this group, this is what we are interested in, then your devotional practices are what bring you into true remembrance of who and what you are, which in my language is God. As God having a human experience, it is vital that you engage in those practices that bring you as close as possible to your God consciousness in its fullest form. This is very different to a spiritual trinket, which is, I got to go and buy that special tea that's going to decalcify my pineal gland, or I've got to go and have a Reiki session. Those things are, whilst fun in and of themselves, are not the reason or not the cause of your spiritual evolution. Your spiritual evolution comes only from going deep into your devotion, going deep into your devotional practices, and handing yourself over to God. And let me tell you why. Why is it that devotion, and I'll talk about what a devotional practice is in a moment, why is that where we meet God? Well, this is really the beautiful thing about this. God that which we're trying to retain or bring back into our consciousness in full remembrance, because we are that. We are no less God than we were, before we came into human form. We've just forgotten, is not in the dream. God is not in this illusion. This beautiful human dream that we're inhabiting right now is but an illusion. And whilst that might make you feel uncomfortable, it is truth. Whilst we are overly invested in the external life, while we are so invested in our human experience, when we are too wedded to 3D reality, we have forgotten our true nature. And so our devotional practices are those things that take us away from the superficial dream, back into the truth of what we are, which is God consciousness, or pure unlimited consciousness, 5D rather than 3D. When you don't have devotional practices in your life as a spiritual seeker, things will start to go wrong very, very quickly, because you are totally wedded to the external world. You are only invested in the trinkets and superstitions, in that external dream layer of consciousness, which cannot nourish your soul, which cannot remind you of what you truly are, which cannot bring you closer to the place where you truly manufacture your reality from. When your devotional practices are intact, when they are part of your every living moment, then you are absolutely certain of meeting your own infinite power and awakening to the truth of what you are. So what is a devotional practice? A devotional practice is primarily anything that takes you into silence and stillness, okay? So silence and stillness typify a devotional practice, but they can also include sound. So we can think of chanting as a devotional practice. The reason I would still consider that to be part of that inner silence and stillness is because even though you're making sound, you're using that sound to alter the fabric of your existence. You're using it to guide you inwards to that inner state. So we would use chanting as a way to take us inwards. So the ultimate devotional practice is, of course, meditation. And a spiritual seeker who does not have meditation in their daily life is not actually on the path, because you are not able to access God in the dream. You are not able to be 100% in the external reality and meet yourself as your infinite unlimited self. I know I'm saying this a lot, but I feel like it bears repeating. So I'm getting excited and I'm shaking my phone. So we use our devotional practices of things like chanting, of mantra, of even things like yoga, using the asana, to get us into those inner states of stillness where we can then go and meet God, where we let God move into us in full consciousness, where we hold our vibration in such a way that we are able to know the truth of what we are. And running around like headless chooks in the world, it simply is not possible. Everything that we do in the world can be done as an act of devotion, and I want you to remember that as well. I'm not saying that you have to sit down and meditate for an hour a day. You simply may not have that time. You might have children, you might have a busy life. But if you are not able to cultivate silence and stillness for at least 5 minutes in your day, then I would encourage you to look at what else you could give up in order to have that silence and stillness, because that should be your priority. And I guarantee you, whatever it is you're trying to make of your life will be made so much more successful when you introduce silence and stillness into your daily practice. That can be 5 minutes. 5 minutes throughout the day. You can do it once, you can do it 17 times. You can walk in devotion. You can do the dishes in devotion. You can do most of our daily chores in a state of devotion and reverence. But still, we must also cultivate those states that allow us to know the truth. And that is not going to be met in the busy activity of our lives. So please don't confuse the trinkets and superstitions of the New Age with your devotion. Your devotion is that non-negotiable thing that must be present and must be cultivated, and it isn't easy. I'm not saying to do this because it's an easy thing to do. I'm saying to do it because there is really no other path for the spiritual seeker. And what will happen if you don't have this time of stillness, this time of going in to meet yourself as God, this time of prayer and contemplation and reflection upon your own soul nature, is that you will burn out. You will go into crisis. You'll experience anxiety and depression because you are not fueling or feeding your soul. And without feeding your soul, without fueling your soul, you will burn out. You will simply have nothing to run on, because nothing in the dream is going to nourish you in the way that your devotional practices will. And even though that sounds sort of non-negotiable, I really want you to know that actually that's what I mean. This is non-negotiable, because the reality is that the dream, no matter how good and high vibing it is, does not exist. And that is truly confronting for some people to hear, and I understand that, but it is the truth that we're all working towards. And I guess I'm not here to kind of give you comfort for your littleness. I'm not here to give you comfort for your limits. I'm here to inspire you to see yourself as God. And that requires you going beyond the belief that even the good things of the dream are real, because they're not. And the love that you experience in the dream is a pale imitation of what it is that you're truly capable of. So I feel like I've made my point, and I hope that it's sitting well with you, because it's meant to be an inspiration rather than a sense of being, being told off for not doing enough devotional practice. It's truly an invitation to know that if you give yourself this stillness and silence, if you cultivate these practices of prayer and meditation and contemplation and reflection in your daily life, that you will actually meet yourself in so much more power and glory than you have possibly even recognized right now. And Beck Tamaccio, whoop whoop, yep, I'm feeling you too, my darling. That's it. This is called Blisscipline by Vishen Lakhiani for a very good reason, because these practices are the only way for the spiritual seeker to go into those true states of bliss. Nothing in the dream is going to do that for you. And the more we spend in our 5D wave, pure energy, pure consciousness state, the less time we spend in form, the more possibility our life presents to us, the more wonder, the more bliss, and the more joy. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you for so many of you for being here. It's such a joy to hang out with you and spend time with you. Mwah. Have a glorious day. I feel like I want to show you actually the headquarters. I'm coming down, Kim, just in case you're doing something compromising. I'm just going to show you where we are packing up the 3rd level welcome for our incoming priestesses. Kim's here, and
Rufus
she's got super duper help from Rufus here. Yeah, not helpful at all, Rufus.
You missed Rocco.
This is a finished pack. We've got the beautiful Earth Radiance packs from Tammy Pike. We've got some of my favorite incense here. The ubiquitous gold pencil case. You can tell a 3rd level priestess by her gold pencil case. And we've got the books. Where are the books? Let me see. These ones I'm so excited about. Everyone gets a journal, and this year we've gone with embossed with the word fierce, because of course that is like the most perfect word. It did take Kim and I quite some time to figure out what word, because we're only allowed 7 characters, and I wanted priestess. And we've got some beautiful oracle cards. My favorite thing to do is to send oracle cards out one by one. These are the new cards from Megan Watterson, and they are so divine. This is called the Divine Feminine Oracle, and each of the incoming women will have one of her oracle cards sent with them as their guide for this year. We've got, what else do they get? A little reminder in case you've forgotten. Today you were made to be glorious. And I think that's about it. Oh, and the Spiritually Fierce vow. So of course that is vital for everyone to have. So yeah, so we're really just, it's kind of crazy in here. But it's looking good. And at the other side, we've got the amazing Ellie Schroeder designed 3rd level certificates for my 3rd level group who are just about to graduate. That one didn't go to Amy Tower because I got the inking wrong, but that's one of the certificates. You get not 1 but 2, and this is the other one. Ellie Schroeder outdid herself with these designs. They're so beautiful. So at the moment, these are being prepared to send out to the 2017 group who are on the verge of graduating. So at each end of the 3rd level, you get presents. How exciting is that? So much love to you all. Mwah. Have a gorgeous day, and I'll speak to you soon.